omniscient and almighty, starting with the elderly wolf uncle chapter 95. The surging divine power was overflowing, like the furious sea of endless waves, and it was impossible to stop it. Just one hit, the destroyer was actually smashed all over the cracks and fell apart. Boom, exploded to pieces. Asgard Immortal Palace. Thor, why, you're back anyway, quote. Loki felt that he had lost contact with the destroyer, and in great anger, he took off his helmet and slammed it on the ground. He could imagine that Thor would return later. He has not yet sat on the temporary throne for 2 days, and he will return it to Thor. And the person the father really cares about at that time will also become Thor. Thor deserves to die in the mortal world, and coming back will only embarrass Asgard. Meanwhile, on Earth, Thor is actually resurrected. Moreover, he really didn't lie to me, he really was a god. Simple. Foster looked at Thor bathed in boundless thunder, shocked, and his eyes flickered. Except for her, everyone else fell into shock, and the 3 warriors of the Immortal Palace, as well as Sif, were extremely excited. Thor is back, they thought with delight. Right at this moment, after Thor smashed the destroyer, the thunder light on his body still did not dissipate. The eyes that shone with blue electric light turned to xianxia. Rumble. The next moment, he actually directly threw out the thunder god hammer that was wrapped in endless arcs and slammed it towards xianxia. Phew. Mjolnir's hammer came out, and on the hammer body, all the patterns bloomed with brilliant divine light at this moment. Endless arcs of electricity shine, blooming with thunder power that can destroy everything. The hammer body roared by, it seemed that even the space could not withstand it, and it was shaken continuously. Thor, when everyone saw this scene, they were immediately shocked. Marvel at Thor's combat power after recovery, but at the same time feel that xianxia can't dodge the attack from Thor. After all, the other party is the best warrior in the 9 realms for nearly 1,000 years. However, when the lightning thunder god hammer slammed into xianxia, the power of brilliant thunder was thrilling. Break the space. It's just that. Next second, the crowd saw a scene that shocked them. I saw the young man raise his hand lightly and hold the flying Mjolnir. Instantly, endless electric light bloomed with brilliant light, like spider webs densely spreading throughout the space. And the hammer is connected and does not move. Everyone froze in place. To know, it was a hammer that only those who were approved by the God King could gather. Knife. Chapter 76. The Supreme Mage arrives, the magical Asgardian bloodline. Phew. Mjolnir's hammer blasted straight towards xianxia with a rapid speed through the air. Brilliant thunder light burst through the sky, like endless thunder power, filling the place as far as the eye could see. It exudes endless destruction, a sense of destruction. Countless arcs beat, each of which seems to carry the horror of obliterating all life. Everyone present saw this scene and immediately held their breath. Jane Foster, who was standing next to him, hurriedly retreated. Thor used this hammer just now, but he directly smashed the incomparably hard destroyer. They naturally know the power of the hammer. And the 3 warriors of the Immortal Palace and Sif, who knew, were a little nervous. They knew that Mjolnir could only be lifted if it was recognized. If it is a person who is not recognized, he will be killed or injured in the front. However, xianxia was extremely indifferent. He slowly raised his hand, and his hand that was as white as jade knuckles collided with the thunder god hammer. Rumble. Endless electric light burst out instantly, shining on the heavens and the earth, dyeing everything white. The terrifying aftermath of the collision spread out in an instant, and the surrounding environment suddenly flew sand, stones, and dust and fog. Fack. Rao is the 3 warriors of the Immortal Palace, and the female warrior Sif couldn't help frowning, stimulated by the blazing light, and subconsciously raised his hand to block it in front of him. Not to mention Jane Foster and Eric and Louise, 3 ordinary people. They couldn't look directly at the strong lightning. On the contrary, Thor, who threw out Mjolnir, squinted slightly, and his handsome face reflected a layer of white light, but his solemn expression could not be concealed. He can see everything that happens in the white light. On the other side, in the midst of intense thunder. The moment xianxia's hand touched the thunder god hammer, the sound of receiving a reward suddenly sounded in his mind. Constantly echoing in the mind. Battle detected. Rewarded. Asgard royal bloodline. Thor. It's done. When xianxia heard the sound, he couldn't help but be overjoyed. The purpose of coming to New Mexico this time is to get the Trinity 3 of Thor. Bloodline. That is, the bloodline of the royal family of Asgard. He once saw in a comic magazine that Thor's bloodline was far better than Odin's. Because the true strength of the Asgardians is also the inheritance, the bloodline of one generation will be better than the next, and their strength will increase exponentially with age. Other words, if xianxia's strength had reached the Silver Great Surpass period, with the blessing of Asgard's bloodline, it is even possible to go to the next level. This is the strength of Asgard's bloodline. The longer you live, the older you are, the more demon you are. The Krypton bloodline, on the other hand, has no upper limit. As for the Hulk bloodline, it is a bit of an evolution towards the immortal Hulk. If this is the case, then the target is immortality. No one can kill the immortal Hulk, he is everything under all things. Thinking of this, xianxia's mood was a little excited. He was looking forward to what kind of bugs would occur between the bloodlines, so much so that he ignored the thunder light rushing around him and the impact of Mjolnir. Anyway, he didn't put these in his eyes. After all, he had a steel body and a biological stance, and he didn't care about these lightning attacks. Besides, he has Loki's magic and Jamiro's lightning abilities. None of this was something for him to fear. Besides, it seems that Thor didn't use much effort. Thoughts fall. xianxia pinched the hammer body of the thunder god hammer and flicked it gently. The shining arc that surrounded him all over the week was immediately dispersed by him. Sure enough, I stopped. It's just, how could it be so easy? First chapter, previous chapter 95, 108.